Hydro Cannon will be moving Drapion from the field of play, and this now sets up the perfect opportunity for Toucannon to come in and look to load up on energy. Toucannon will be looking for the one shield, a full Bullet Seed farm down. The question now becomes, can Swampert reach another Hydro Cannon? Toucannon commits to the farm down, able to get it, and leaves absolutely loaded. Out comes the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, and if they don't know about that rock type coverage, they're about to find out. Welcome back to the channel. We're on day 3 of the Team Rocket takeover, which means I'm back at it showcasing yet another of the newly released Shadow Pokemon. I'm sure you're probably expecting me to be showcasing either Giratina or Talonflame. However, all the other big content creators have already rushed to get that out, so I'm going to stick to my lane and do what I do best and showcase that spice that no one else is willing to risk their elo using. Out of all the newly released Shadow Pokemon, there is no Pokemon that performs, apparently according to simulations, worse than Toucannon. It is ranked at 875th on PvPoke. What does that mean in layman's terms? Well, I've used to fully excel a Seel, the pre-evolution of Dugong. Even if you had a Hundo, all the way at level 50, it would reach 1098 CP, not even 1100, and that thing seems better than this. Toucannon has a 1600 stat product with 137 attack stat. So essentially, it's pretty similar to something like Shadow Gallade or Shadow Scizor. So you already know this thing will not tank a hit to save its life. I'm not going to pad it out with two very bulky, boring Pokemon. We're going to be running Shadow Quagsire, as I think Flyers and Mud Boys make a great core. For the first couple of battles, I used Sableye. I then very quickly realised Ferret was my dad, and we switch over to Drapion. With all that being said, is Toucannon the meme pick or the dream pick? There's only one way to find out. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. I will be leading Toucannon for the duration of today's video, and in battle number 1, we lead Toucannon into Big Man Blastoise. As I'm very glassy, I don't fancy tanking the rollout damage. We say switch into Shadow Sableye. Shadow Sableye wastes no time, fires off the foul play, goes unshielded, putting Big Man Blastoise below the half health range. My opponent opts to throw 2 rollouts, giving me a free Shadow Claw sneak, and that means I am going to outpace to the next foul play, and the opponent's forced to make the first shielding decision of the game. Down goes Big Man Blastoise, out comes Shadow Scizor, and I really wish I was showcasing Talonflame and not Toucannon. Unfortunately, my Bullet Seeds are double resisted, so I'm forced to send out the Quagman. My opponent farms up to what could be a Trailblaze. It's probably a Night Slash bait, but better to be safe than sorry. The opponent fires off that Night Slash bait. Undeterred, the super happy Quagman fires off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail forces my Protect Shield back, where they're going to farm up and look to catch what's hopefully the Trailblaze onto Toucannon. Did we catch the Trailblaze? No, we did not. That is a Night Slash bait. Trainer, I have a family. Toucannon straight in and straight out. And it is all going wrong in battle number 1. Quagsire, Investor Protect Shield, looks for the Mud Shot farm down. Unfortunately, unable to get it. And we're not even going to see the third. It's safe to say we are not off to the best start. Heading into the next battle. Things are looking more promising as we see a Mud Boy in the lead position. We're running Bullet Seed that is double super effective. Mind you, it's non-stab, but double super effective nonetheless. Swampert, of course, running Mud Shot that is double resisted. The opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon, obtaining himself a shield advantage, pivot into Cradily. Cradily chipped with the Drill Peck, and here comes Shadow Sableye. Sableye races that foul play, throwing it on the charge attack priority, and foul play will be forcing my Protect Shield back. This is like best case scenario, is no one move, it will knock us out. Grass Knot would do more, but of course my opponent oh so horny for that debuff. Sableye withstands the damage, once again farms up, throwing the next foul play on the charge attack priority, and able to move Cradily from the field of play. The opponent sends out a Kentucky Fried Chicken, a Bird of Death. We are going to reach a foul play that is debuff, but still going to put him in a range when Aqua Tail will get the job done. The issue I've now got is if they Brave Bird's going to do almost all my HP. This is a Toucannon showcase. We're going to put it all on Toucannon. They fire off the Brave Bird. Quagsire just about withstands the damage. The opponent sends out Swampert. Swampert greeted with the Drill Peck. Drill Peck forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and we are off to the races. Toucannon with that shield to hide behind. Going to be investing it here. The opponent is technically 2 Mud Shots off. I'm not sure if 1 Bullet Seed knocks out, so I play it safe. Fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck, of course, removes them from the field of play. Back out comes Talonflame. 3 Bullet Seeds and the Rock Blast. Double super effective damage. Toucannon claims its first victim, and we take that game. In the next battle, what the heck is this? Are you kidding me? Emolga. It's a big fat no thank you. A save switch into Drapion. The opponent farm up some energy, tries to catch the crunch onto Thickersby. I see it coming in. It's going to be death by Aqua Tail spam. The big fat bunny takes 7 quick attacks to that Scorching Sand. So we're going to fire off the next Aqua Tail, winning CMP. And the opponent is going to have to force in the big move if they want to remove me from the field of play. My massive balls call the bait, and just like that, we're sitting in the driver's seat. Once again, we trap the opponent into the CMP tile. They do not win. Drapion able to flip the mid-game matchup, and hopefully whatever's in the back is going to be somewhat weak to Toucannon. Back out comes Emolga. Drapion is still not done. Full sends the Crunch, and Crunch lands for huge damage and gets the defense drop. Drapion doing all the heavy lifting, almost removing 2 Pokemon from the field of play. The opponent instantly spam a charge. We were hoping it's a discharge, and they actually full send the acrobatics, and it's ABA Electric. Who runs ABA Electric? Are you fucking kidding me? On the plus side, I'm looking for a plus side. At least they're not running Thundershock. They're running Sucker Punch, but it may as well be super effective as my HP is rapidly declining. We fire off the Rock Blast. Rock Blast forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, but at this point the damage is already done. I'm forced to invest a Protect Shield here. The opponent's timer will be popping up. We're going to get a cheeky little wham, bam, combo play. The opponent's going to fire off the Discharge. Discharge, massive overkill. We are able to Mud Shot, farm down a Emolga, but in return we get Sucker Punch farm down, and that one certainly didn't go to plan. Heading into the next battle, we see Gallade and Weezing in the lead position. I don't think I'm going to tank a Sludge particularly well, but Drapion on the other hand does resist Poison, as Poison does resist itself. We're able to catch the Sludge onto Drapion, and out comes Fortress. Fortress going to be greeted with the Crunch. Crunch hits for neutral, and decent neutral damage at that. Able to get the defense drops. The opponent's going to be forced to dump their energy. Sandtomb will be survivable despite being super effective, and we are going to reach the departing Aqua Tail. I'd love to reach another Crunch, but unfortunately 2 further Bug Bites would knock me out. Aqua Tail leaves them deep in the red health range. I'm actually going to send out Toucannon here. I'm going to overfarm ever so slightly and fire off the Drill Peck. Even these Bug Bites don't look resisted. Toucannon buddy, where is your bulk? Back out comes Gallade and Weezing. We wait, pause, try our luck at catching yet another Sludge onto the Quagman. We are 2 for 2 on catches, and out comes Azumarill. Quagsire, of course, going to go straight Stone Edge in this matchup. I think you'd be a lunatic to bait an Aqua Tail, as Azumarill very easily tanks a Stone Edge from full health, as you can see there. I'm going to invest a Protect Shield, blocking up what is likely an Ice Beam bait, but Quagsire would even get knocked out by a non-stab Ice Beam, which is kind of depressing. Quagsire going to fire off yet another Stone Edge. Stone Edge forces the first Protect Shield. We then go for the CMP sack, firing off the Drill Peck as the opponent receives the energy for that second Ice Beam. Does this give me a way back in the battle? I'm literally trying my best out here. Quagsire not only needs to remove this Azumarill, it needs to have enough HP to reach 1 further Stone Edge against Gallade and Weezing. It doesn't look promising. Stone Edge removes Azumarill from the field of play. We're going to get Fairy Wind farm down, and despite catching twice and making a CMP sack swap, we still end up losing. Heading into the next battle, we see a battle of flying types. Shadow and Shadow Crime with Toucannon into Gligar. Surely this is a good matchup. The Fury Cutters are resisted and non-stab. I was going to say Aerial Ace, a move I normally call Aerial Ass, but ouch. We almost get one shot. We return fire with the Drill Peck. Drill Peck was able to land. The opponent then banked their energy and catch onto Lapras, but this catch more than works for me. After landing that Drill Peck, they're in a range where a single Crunch will knock out. I could go straight for the Crunch, but I don't think that's the optimal play. Instead, we know we tank a Sparkle Aria. These sideways are also single resisted, so instead I'm going to look to massively overfarm, ensuring I've got an Aqua Tail bank, meaning Gligar shall not return. But if they do return, we'll just knock them immediately out. The opponent reluctant to send back out Gligar, send out the Dene. We fire off the first Aqua Tail. Drapion, so far ahead in energy, reach the next Aqua Tail, and they should be forcing the final Protect Shield off the opponent. Aqua Tail does exactly that. The opponent does get a massive Thundershock farm down. We send out the Quagman. We're going to farm up, look to catch the Play Rough onto Toucannon. Oof, that's naughty. Toucannon, the world's best third shield, tanks that Play Rough. We send back out the Quagman. The opponent doesn't want the smoke, and we return to winning ways. Heading into the next battle, we see a Ghost in the lead position. Despite us double resisting the Astonish damage, this thing does have access to Power Gem. We fire off the Drill Peck, then make the pivot into Drapion. I could have, of course, went to Quagsire, where this move would be resisted, but I don't think Quagsire is the best save switch. I don't really like to save switch anything with a double weakness. My Drapion save switch is answered by a Steel Wing Corviknight. We go straight for the Crunch. Drapion races to the next Crunch and looks to apply some shield pressure. Crunch does force the Protect Shield, and the opponent is going to get a massive Steel Wing farm down. For anyone wondering why I keep toggling apps every time a Pokemon faints, if you do that, it's supposed to prevent one turn bring in. I send out the Quagman, the opponent fires off the payback that does a lot of damage, but these Steel Wings aren't doing much of anything. Stealing, of course, did have its energy generation nerfed a few seasons ago, so I'm going to shield up this next move. I'm then going to massively overfarm and look to Mud Shot in a range when Aqua Tail will be lethal. Aqua Tail does remove Corviknight from the field of play. The opponent send back out Corsola. We fire off one Mud Shot and the Aqua Tail for optimal fast move timing, and then we're going to make the pivot back into Toucannon. Toucannon looks to the Bullet Seed farm down, unfortunately unable to get it, and I'm forced to fire off a charge move. Drill Peck, of course, from this range will be lethal. The opponent invests a Protect Shield. Okay. Is it a fight in the back? Show me something Toucannon can one-shot. We shield up the Power Gem. What is that? Why did you shield? Trainer, you absolutely toy with my emotions. We fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck, unfortunately, doesn't put them into Aqua Tail range. And once again, you guessed it, this one is also going to end in heartbreaking defeat. The opponent played that so strangely, but GG's regardless. Oh, the things we do for content. Heading into the next battle. We see a real David versus Goliath with a battle of the two new kids on the block. Shadow Giratina versus Toucannon. The opponent goes straight for a Dragon Claw. One Dragon Claw is survivable. Believe it or not, Toucannon can actually tank the occasional charge move. We throw one Bullet Seed and the Drill Peck. Drill Peck does decent damage, but then bank some energy, make the save switch into Drapion. Now Drapion save switch is answered by Fortress. Fortress greeted with the crunch. Usually I'd say you don't want to shield the first move, but of course the opponent's going to be very horny, spamming that Rock Tomb and want to lower Drapion's damage output. Drapion's able to withstand the damage and still reach a further crunch. This crunch is at -1, but still does some alright chip damage. I'm hoping still they're in Drill Peck range. We send Toucannon back into the arena. Toucannon gonna overfarm, fire off said Drill Peck. Drill Peck should be picking up the knockout. The opponent invests that protection. I'm kind of forced to pivot here. If not, Quagsire is going to be permanently debuffed for the remainder of the game. That, of course, the easiest Rock Tomb call of my absolute life. Oh, we're now debuffed. The opponent send back out Giratina, fire off the Dragon Claw. That they've got banked. Quagsire going to overfarm. And even at -1, a Stone Edge should be moving Giratina from the field of play. Down goes Giratina. Back out comes Fortress. Is a -1 Aqua Tail going to be lethal? We need it to knock out. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite get the job done. And once again, it is all going wrong in this battle. We shield up the Sand Tomb. We're now debuffed in both attack and defense. We bank the Aqua Tail, reset that debuff, but it's simply, as I've said about 10 times in the video today, too little too late. Sometimes this is how it goes. When you're on spicy Pokemon, even if you're playing reasonably well, I'll be honest, I don't even think I'm playing that badly. We are just very much struggling to get wins. In the next battle, once again, we see a Nightmare lead. We say switch into Drapion. The opponent fire off the Parabolic Charge and then send out Lapras. I'm glad I held my energy. The first crunch is able to land. I'm then going to farm up, try to trap the opponent into a CMP tie. The opponent does play to CMP, and we're giving ourselves the best fighting chance of getting ourselves back in this battle. Drapion has done its job. We can now just Bullet Seed farm down Lapras' remaining HP and get ahead in energy. Worst case scenario, Rock Blast, whilst it isn't the best move, we've got 137 attack stat. So even a Rock Blast will do some decent damage. Back out comes the Dene. We are going to fire off the Rock Blast. Rock Blast, force a Protect Shield. We make the pivot into the Quagman. Quagsire is answered by Corsola. We're seeing another Corsola. I haven't seen one of these things in forever, but now we're seeing like 2 consecutively. Invest Protect Shield, block up the Nightshade. I'm going to force in the Stone Edge, looking to do maximum damage. Stone Edge forces the shield, and I'll be honest, I'm getting super tilted at this point. I'm going to fire off an Aqua Tail, and then I'm going to try and judge if 2 Aqua Tails will be lethal. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm forced to burn the final Protect Shield here. Blocking up the Nightshade. Quagsire going to overfarm, firing off 4 Mud Shots and the Stone Edge. Stone Edge will guarantee the knockout, and we should reach a departing Aqua Tail onto this Dedenne. I was tempted to catch, but I think it's kind of risky. The opponent has a buckload of energy. Quagsire lands the Aqua Tail. The opponent isn't doubled up. I believe they're 2 off. Please tell me that is 1 Bullet Seed range. Toucannon, don't let me down. Toucannon enters the arena. No! Of course they survive. And once again, an agonising defeat. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see the absolute dream lead. The opponent save switch into Lapras. We're going to fire off the Drill Peck, force some Chippity action, and then make the pivot into Drapion. Drill Peck, force the Protect Shield, and here comes Drapion. The opponent farms up to what could be a Skull Bash. We get bashed to the face. Jamie, for the love of God, please use some shields. Drapion Fires off the Crunch. Crunch does decent damage. The opponent then throw a charge move on alignment. I'm not on 1 HP, so I can shield this up. And we can either flip switch, or maintain alignment, I should say, or force the opponent all shields down. The opponent actually catch, and that definitely works for me. When Lapras was switched in, I should have actually Rock Blast there. I wasn't sure at the time if Rock Blast, super effective, did more than a Drill Peck. It does ever so slightly more, 41% as opposed to 40. We farm up, throw the Drill Peck on the charge attack priority, removing them from the field of play. We see yet another Dene hit the field of play. I am going to call the opponent's going to force in the play rough. They do exactly that. Quagsire invests the Protect Shield. The opponent then tries to catch onto Lapras. We're going to overfarm. Fire off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge removes Lapras from the field of play. We are nowhere near play rough range, and this one is going to be a victory. Quagsire fires off the Aquatail. Aquatail forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Play rough, simply not going to cut it. The super happy Quagman withstands the damage. We receive the energy for the Aquatail, and that is going to be all she wrote. Me finally returning to winning ways. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we see Toucannon into Azumarill. The Bullet Seeds are super effective. We're going to farm up, throw the Drill Peck, winning CMP by an absolute country mile. Drill Peck does decent damage. Of course, Ice Beam would easily knock me out. I'm hoping after 5 further Bullet Seeds, the next Drill Peck will be lethal. It looks like it's going to be super close, but I'm calling that is Drill Peck range. Of course, taking into account the opponent doesn't shield, Drill Peck leaves him on fractional HP. Ah, this Pokemon's so bloody frustrating, man. So for anyone wondering, even in the 1-0 shield, Toucannon doesn't knock out Azumarill. The opponent sends out Sableye, which is certainly a choice, into our Drapion. Power Gem, Gleam, whatever they want to throw is survival. They actually go for the foul play bait. Drapion withstands the damage, fires off the Crunch. Crunch goes unshielded. I'm then going to farm up and just set off an Aquatail, as this is Aquatail range. Aquatail forces the opponent first Protect Shield. Again, this is only a foul play, and foul play won't be lethal. I'm going to bank an Aquatail in case I need it for the end game, and then make the pivot into the Quagman. Out comes Dusclops. So if you saw yesterday's video, you'll know I've been out grinding with Alpha Club. Alpha Club sent this exact team to Home Size Henry. This should be a Poltergeist. It's exactly that. Quagsire gets one shot, and we are going to take yet another defeat. GG's to that opponent. You send the nuke, you win the battle. Heading into the next battle, we see our good old buddy Shadow Giratina. This one farms up to what could be an Ancient Power that they throw on alignment. Oh my god, a non-stab Ancient Power, almost one-hit KOs. We fire off the Drill Peck, force the Protect Shield and make the pivot into Drapion. My Drapion save switch is answered by Thickersby. Thickersby going to be greeted with the Aquatail. You need 3 to knock out. We're going to fire off the first, then the second on the charge attack priority. And once again, the opponent is going to have to force in the big move. They want to remove me from the field of play. As always, we look to call the bait, and we finally found someone who doesn't kill a poor defenseless cat. They force in the Scorching Sands. Drapion just about hangs on, but we do get quick attack farm down. They're now going to be 5 off. The next Scorching Sands, we're going to farm up, make the catch, back onto Toucannon. Quagsire still has 2 shields intact. Again, they do force in. Quagsire looks to overfarm, the opponent not wishing, concede a farm down, or just give me 4 energy, send out Tinkaton. Tinkaton greeted with the Aquatail, and here the opponent throws on 6. I'm not shielding this because it's an obvious bulldoze. It's 7-7-6 to the play rough, but once again, it looks like I might save 2 shields for next season. Quagsire going to fire off the next Aquatail. And here I've seen what the best path forward is. 1 shield, despite this being a bulldoze, and look to fully mud shot farm down. The opponent fire off the bulldoze. It's Quagsire versus the world. Back out comes Diggersby. I overfarm, I fire off the Aquatail. Aquatail is going to knock out. Back out comes Giratina. Of course, we're just going to full send. Stone Edge is able to land. Can we reach 2 further Aquatails? No, we cannot. We get Shadow Claw farm down, and once again, yet another heartbreaking defeat in the next battle. Oh my gosh, this Dragon Breath damage is absolutely disgusting. Toucannon gonna fire off the Drill Peck, force of protection. We pivot into Drapion, and you know what? This time I'm just gonna shield. It's probably a Dragon Claw, but we're gonna keep some health, recognising that essentially I'm playing with just 2 Pokemon, Drapion and Quagsire, as Toucannon's doing absolutely bloody nothing, man. At least we correctly shield up the superpower, but this energy goes absolutely nowhere into Azumarill. The poison stings are super effective, but these crunches are resisted, and 2 crunches are very, very easily survivable. Drapion has done its job. The opponent threw on 7 here, so they're going to be 4 bubbles off the next player off. When I send out Quagsire, they're likely to throw it instantly, as we're going to be 7 mud shots to the Stone Edge. To be honest, I could actually just Aqua Tail. But what I'm going to do instead is sacrifice Toucannon, recognising this thing is absolutely garbage, and put all my hopes and dreams on Quagsire. Quagsire comes in, gets the massive Mud Shot farm down, leaving absolutely loaded. Back out comes Dragonite, and we're not baiting. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Dragonite gets one shot, vanquished, back to its Pokeball. Out comes Diggersby. Diggersby going to be greeted with the Aqua Tail. The first Aqua Tail is able to land. These quick attacks have actually put me in a range. My only win con, logically here, is calling a bait. They're not in Mud Shot farm down range, so they should go straight sands. When they reach the next sands, I'll be doubled up. I can only win CMP once. So when I throw at my double, they'd be able to shield, knock me out with their sands. They find that only lose con, fire punch baiting like an absolute potato, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Shadow Malamar in the lead position. It's a no thank from me. I say switch into Drapion here. It looks like my opponent's going to super and dip. They actually fire off the foul play, which means one of two things. They've made an awful life decision, or they're potentially running Hyper Beam. They send out Swampert, invest to protect shield, blocking up the crunch, then look to deny energy, firing off the Hydro Cannon, removing Drapion from the field of play. If there was ever a time for Toucannon to do something, this is it. The Mud Shots are double resisted, our Bullet Seeds are double super effective. Toucannon looks for the one shield, full Bullet Seed farm down. Can we get it? Yes, we can. We leave absolutely loaded. Out comes a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death. Does the opponent know about that rock type coverage? They do not. Rock Blast almost picks up the one hit KO. We pivot into Quagsire, back out. Comes Malamar, and once again we are full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Malamar straight in and straight out, and we take that game. Honestly, after a really rough day of battling, that had me super hyped. In the next battle, we see Furret in the lead position. The opponent doesn't throw at the best timing, so I'm actually here going to invest a Protect Shield. I'm going to go for one Bullet Seed and the first Draw Peck, then one further Bullet Seed and the next Draw Peck. The first one's able to land, the second one, I'd love to go unshielded, but likely does force my Protect Shield back. The opponent invests that Protect Shield, will then make the pivot into Drapion. The opponent banks some energy and send out Toadscrawl. Toadscrawl going to be greeted with the Crunch. Crunch is able to land. Here we're going to maintain a disciplined fast move timing. Do you know what? This thing's very bulky, man. These Mud Slaps aren't doing much of anything. The first Aqua Tail forces the Protect Shield. Drapion able to reach the next one. And Drapion is a Toadscrawl counter confirmed. You heard it here first. We have forced the opponent all shields down, but Furret's going to come back in. Sucker Punch farm me down. Of course, Trailblaze is double super effective. I send out Quagsire, go for the show and go. Try to catch the Trailblaze. Catch attempt unsuccessful. The opponent does look to dump energy. This is only a Swift, but it is boosted. Potentially it's the hardest hitting move left in the game. I've got no idea what's in the back. Dragon Breath Giratina. Can we reach double Stone Edge? Come on, Quagsire, get there. Get there. The opponent does throw an alignment. How much does this Dragon Claw do? Too much. I look to fire off the Aqua Tail. I don't think Aqua Tail will be lethal regardless. We're unable to get it off. The Dragon Breath registers first, and that one also ends in a heartbreaking defeat. Heading into the next battle, we see Dugong in the lead position. A massive yikes. I say switch into Drapion, baiting out Gastrodon, and so far it looks like RPS and very much not in my favour. Here my opponent looks to deny energy, firing off the Body Slam. Body Slam isn't lethal. We commit to the next Crunch. To be honest, I shouldn't have got that off. That is damage registration error. But when you get an RPS, you take whatever you can get. Despite me actually being favoured, getting damage registration, I'll be honest, Scopely / Niantic, fix your bloody game. I actually would have much rather the Protect Shield. I could have Bullet Seed farmed down Gastrodon and then threatened Dugong with some Rock Blast. Because now Dugong's ahead in energy and I'm going to get debuffed into Oblivion. Here I am going to invest a Protect Shield and I'm forced to pivot out. We make the pivot into Toucannon. The opponent sends out the Fire Snail. Rock Blast is going to hit for super effective. It won't one-shot. The opponent invests a Protect Shield. Why? I have no idea. And just like that, the opponent loses on the spot. Of course, you can tell today battles haven't gone particularly well, and I do always look to keep my ELO above 2500. Not because I care about ELO, but I feel like when you get into like the 23s and 24s, you often win battles because opponents make very strange decisions. Quagsire fired off the Aqua Tail, knocking out the Snail, Stone Edge, rocks Dugong, vanquishing it back to its Pokeball, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we need Toucannon into Dust Noir, running Astonish. The opponent says no thank you, save switch into Thickersby. I'm going to fire off this Drill Peck, force some chip into action, and then send out Quagsire. To be honest, I don't even need switch advantage. So my main goal here is to obtain a shield advantage because that Dust Noir is completely shut down by both my lead and Drapion too. My opponent farming up, looking to fake a Hyper Beam. Have they got it? I'm going to say no. They potentially could have it. They just maybe for a bait. This again won't be lethal. Quagsire withstands the damage. Still able to reach an Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail won't quite be lethal, but will put them into Bullet Seed farm down range. I'm hoping I'm able to achieve that farm down before they even reach a Fire Punch. I'm able to do exactly that. The opponent send out the Dene. We bank the Rock Blast, make the pivot into Drapion, and this game is already wrapped up. Drapion going to race to the Crunch. Crunch either going to knock out or force the Final Protect Shield. The opponent invests their Final Protect Shield. There's likely a Shadow Punch bait. The opponent actually forcing a Dynamic Punch here. I'm not even going to bother over farming. I'm just going to knock this thing out because we are home and dry. Drapion picks up the one-hit KO, back out comes the Dene. All I've got to do is shield this up, land one single Aqua Tail, and they should be in Rock Blast range, especially with a few more Poison Stings. The opponent's going to be forced to dump their energy immediately as well. If not, we'll reach another Aqua Tail. The opponent does fire off that energy immediately. We've already got one Rock Blast banked. We've got a monstrous attack stats. I'm actually going to farm up to double in case one Rock Blast isn't lethal. We can just fire off back-to-back, winning CMP. But even with double buffed up defense, Rock Blast picks up the knockout, and we're able to end today's video with a big fat dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's showcase. So to answer my own question I asked in the intro, is this thing the meme or the dream pick? I'm sure you can tell from how it performed today. It is very much well deserving of its 875th ranking on PvPoke. It is so incredibly difficult to use. The combination of this clunky 3-turn move that you don't get stab on and doesn't apply much fast move pressure, paired with this complete lack of bolt, make this an incredibly difficult Pokemon to use, and I think it will never really gain any great success. However, I personally think content is all about entertainment. Despite me getting completely clapped, I hope you at least found this an entertaining video. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to our battle submission form is down below, and as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.